Right, so this one is more of an overview on this device I've been using. This is the Sony NW-A25, and the reason why I'm doing this is because there's not really that much information on this device here on YouTube. There's a few videos, but most of them are from, like, all of them are from like other countries or really old, like from when this came out. This device right here was released in 2015, and it really only came out in like Asia, like in Japan mostly, but like Australia and other places in Asia. I don't think it released anywhere else. And it didn't. This one did not release in the U.S. So what I'm gonna really try to accomplish here is show you like all of the features of this device and why I really this is like my favorite like audio player like that I've used. I've replaced my iPod just to get this right here. So one feature that's really useful is you can see right here it's got an SD card slot, and in this SD card I put in let's just power it off real quick so I can show it. So in here I have a 256 gig micro SD right here, and the reason why it says blink is because micro SD card prices have really fucking risen through the roof recently because of the whole AI thing. And this SD card was originally made for security cameras, and it's like it's like $30. It's like the cheapest one, but it works well. There's no like proprietary lockout chip in something that makes it only work with the cameras. So that's why I've been using it with this device here. Right now it's creating a library. So I'll go over all of the features while it's doing. It's got the restart button, the headphone jack. This right here is what Sony liked doing. This is their proprietary connector here. It looks like a long micro USB. Originally, I thought this was gonna be like the PS Vita charger, but no, it's like their they add a bunch of custom like stupid connectors instead of like micro USB or something. Since this is still doing this, I'm just gonna hit the restart button here. Yeah, now we can get a nice little boot up here. Of course, you've got your home. These right here, the back and option buttons, you press once, but then you hold them. You hold option to turn off the device, and you hold home to, go back to the home screen. Other than that, there's a hold switch right here, so the buttons don't press, and there's the volume and a lanyard thing, connector, whatever. So now that I've gone over all of the stuff that's on, like all the buttons and stuff, we can start with the library. So to transfer music onto the Walkman, originally I thought you had to use a third-party software like the Sony like Music Connect software, but no, you can just drag and drop it onto the SD card, and then it'll show up here. So while this is going, I'll stop it and then come back when it's done. Right. So now we're on the home screen here. I've changed the wallpaper to this image. you can do that. So what I'm gonna do is go over like some of the features here. First, I'll go over the basics. Here's the SD card settings, and then you can change for the USB transfer. You can change it to the SD card or the system storage. And this one is to like receive files over Bluetooth. I'll go over some interesting like quirks with the Bluetooth later. Over here, it shows the currently playing song. That's all that does. And then here is noise canceling. This uses the device noise canceling. It's not really that good, so I usually just have it off. Because the headphones I use already have noise canceling, so I don't really need that. This one's podcasts, so if you listen to podcasts, I guess. The videos, which I don't know why you would use it. Even for the time, I don't know why you would use this for videos. The bookmarks, you can add like song, kind of like liking a song on like Spotify. You can add it to the bookmarks here. Of course, Bluetooth, you can connect, disconnect, pair the device, and stuff like that. Here's the settings. Now, when you, for specifically this device that I got, over here where it says language settings, that wasn't there when I first bought it. This is a Japan only model. So in order to get this, what you have to do, and I'll search it up right here, just so I can pull it up here. Alright, let's put this in a separate window so all my tabs aren't showing. Right here. Alright, sorry about that. Anyways, so to change your region of the device, you go on this website here. This is a Rockbox wiki. So what you have to do is scroll down. It only supports Linux and Windows, so because I'm on, of course I have a Linux computer up here, so that's what I used for it. So you scroll down, and it's just, you download the binary here. Scroll down a little bit more. You run this one command here. I ran, instead of E2, I ran E, because it had an additional feature, like high gain output and stuff like that. So just run one of these commands depending on what region you want to change it to. Now back to the device itself. Let's put this back on the stand here. There we go. That's good enough. Alright, back to the device. So yeah, it's got an FM radio. It uses the headphone wire as like a antenna, I think. But I'll test it out just to see. It's got an alarm. Of course, your common settings, the screen brightness, screen on settings, and the wallpaper. NFC, I'll show that one. That's a good feature here. So, one thing that's really nice about this device, you can see on the back, it has NFC. And I have a pair of Sony headphones here. This is the one I use all the time. Let's turn it on. This is the Sony WH-XM4. This is way newer than this device, but it still kind of works. It is a little bit iffy, but what you're supposed to do is just tap it, like hold it on here. It does take a little bit. And it says, do you want to pair the device? You click yes. It does take a while because this uses this is an older device, so it uses Bluetooth 3. So it says the connection's complete right here. So instead of clicking all the buttons, you can just hold it on here and then it'll connect. But I won't be using these right now. For demonstration sakes, I'll use these speakers I have just sitting over on the right. So to pair it normally without NFC, because my speakers don't have it, you just click here, click connect. And then it connects. So one thing that's nice about this device is, of course, the song playback. It supports all of the audio formats. Well, I think all of them, actually. Supports FLACs, MP3s, waves, Apple stuff, like ALAC and M4A and stuff like that. And I'll show it here. So, one interesting thing that's great about this device, let's go to album. Let's just grab a random album here. Yeah, sure, let's go with Baby Metal. So an interesting thing about this device, it has lyrics on here, and it does sync up with the song here. So let's play through some of the song. Let's turn this lower, actually. And as you can see, it syncs up with the song. Let's skip forward a bit. So that has a pretty long intro. So that's a great feature. Another thing is, let's go with another song here. Let's go with this one right here. So a great feature of this device is if you press up, it scrolls through the albums right here. So if you wanted to change albums while you were listening to it, you would scroll up. You can hold up and it gets this nice scrolling view here, kind of like the cover flow, but like not really. So let's scroll up. Let's choose this one here. And it switches songs. So if you want to if you're not feeling that one, and if you want to switch to another album, you can switch song right here. For some reason the lyrics didn't download for this one. And one more, and you can go right here. Let's do another one. I just like playing around with this one here. Let's go back. So that was the album views. Of course, it shows the albums on the left here. And of course, you can go high res. This is for if you have like FLACs. Well, it's kind of picky, because some albums I do have on FLAC don't show up in this section. Only this specific like artist here shows up in this section for some. I think this is just one album actually. Let's just play a little bit of this one. Let's just go back, because I do think it's just this one album. No, it's multiple. Okay, so this one artist is the only one that shows up in the high-res section. Of course, you can set up playlists. I don't know how these... I think these are from Apple Music, because on my Mac, these show up separate. I manage like all of my music on the Mac. Of course, bookmark, which I'll show right here. Let's just go to a random song. While I'm here, I can show you the options. So you can set this to shuffle, repeat one song, and then normal. I keep it on shuffle. That's how I usually listen to stuff. Playback range. I'm not sure what this does. I haven't messed with it. But I'm sure you can like fine tune it. It checks. This upscales compressed audio to the equivalent of high-res audio. I do notice on some songs it sounds better, but it mostly just sounds the same. Clear audio. I usually have these both on. Of course, sound settings. Let's turn that off so we can look at the sound settings. You can have different equalizers for rock, pop, jazz, soul, bass boost. And then you can have a custom EQ. And it shows this really nice little interface here. But I usually like clear audio on, so I'll set that to on. Over here you have display lyrics. Of course, if the song has lyrics, it'll show it here. In order to get lyrics, one thing you can do, there's this software here called LRC Get. And when you go to let's put this up, actually. I'm not sure how I can show this, cause... Alright, that's good enough. So when you go to LRC Get, where's my cursor? There it is. You go here, up here, go to directories, and you set it to where all of your music is. Just press continue. Now you press this up here to download all the lyrics. And it'll find the lyrics if it has it in like the database. I think this uses what's that? I think it uses Music Match and their own like directory. I think that's where all they scrape the lyrics from. But if it has lyrics, because sometimes it doesn't. If the song's like too obscure, it won't have lyrics. So if it has it, it'll find it and then automatically download the synced lyrics, and it'll play it back on the Walkman, kind of like how Spotify does it, and Apple Music and such. Set it to your alarm. View detailed information here. So of course it's an MP3 320, and you can see the exact file name. So let's skip to this one here. I think this one isn't an MP3. There's a bit lower. This one is Apple lossless. It's an M4A, I think. Yeah, it is. So you can see here that it supports Apple. So let's go to a FLAC here, just so I can show off the... I think it's... this one is a... I think this one might be MP3. So the detail... No, this one's Apple lossless. Point is, it does play FLACs. Of course, you can go to genre, release year. I usually don't really set this. What I did was I went to MP3 tag, and it usually sets it correctly. But sometimes it doesn't, because unknown here, it's full of stuff. And I really don't have like the patience to manually set it here. So let's show off the bookmark feature next. Let's go here. let's say you skip a few songs as you're listening, and then you see a song that you would want. If I believe correctly, you go add to bookmark. Let's go to list 1. Let's go back to home in the bookmarks, and it's right there. Now, one of my favorite features of this device here is the Sense Me channels. So, similar to on the PSP, Sense Me, it shuffles through all of your songs and it sets like playlists or like mood stuff. Before I show that though, let's see if the radio works on Bluetooth. It does not. Okay, that answers that question. Now, let's go to Sense Me. So as you can see, there's unanalyzed tracks here. Let's go analyze. Let's go update the channels here. So I have to end Bluetooth. Alright, let's go back. Let's go update the channels. And that's gonna take forever, so I'm just not gonna do that right now. Most of my tracks are already here anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Let's go reconnect to the device here. Alright, let's go back to Sense Me. The best. So it shows you a preview of like the audio, like right in the middle of the song. So here's Morning, there's Shuffle All, energetic songs, and it's usually pretty accurate most of the time. Here's our relaxing. Upbeat songs. Some mellow stuff. It's a lounge. Emotional. This one is pretty hit or miss. The dance songs. And extreme. This one's like, they just put anything in this one actually. And this is what I usually use like a lot when I'm listening to stuff on this. I just go either to whatever the time of day, because this does change when you set the clock correctly. It changes. There's a morning, night, afternoon, and all that. So and shuffle, of course, it shuffles through all the songs. Of course, it does show the lyrics too while you're doing it, which is nice to look at. And of course, there's photos. But this one gets like weird with the formats and the size of the image. It gets all weird with it. Of course, you can see here that most of these are like album covers. Except for this one, of course. And you can see, you can just scroll through all of it. But these are just mostly the album covers I have. Alright, so that's mostly it. One final thing I want to show on this device specifically is that the lyrics like display. It displays like different languages. So an example I'll give here, let's go to artist. Of course English is here, so let's just click like the first song here. Of course English. Actually, let's go, instead of doing that, let's do the fun view here. Let's go down to this one's Japanese. Though I'm not sure if, alright, this one does have lyrics, okay. So there's Japanese. Let's go to, this one's Korean. For some reason this downloaded in Japanese, but it's a Korean song. Let's find one that's actually in you know, actually in Korean that I know. This one right here. No, that's Japanese. I'm stupid. This one is Korean. Just to show the different fonts it has. Skip forward. And one that I was surprised to see is Russian, but I'm gonna have to find it, like, because I only have one actually Russian artist on here. So let's go to artists, and of course you might know these. It's like the most popular like Russian band out right now. Let's go to a lot of Skrillex. I downloaded like a whole pack of dubstep songs, and there's like all split up and stuff. Oh, whoops, wrong one. This one right here. Sometimes it does get slow here. So yeah, that's pretty much a mostly thorough overview of this device here. This is actually this is really one of my favorite MP3 players that I've ever used. I did use a few, mostly the iPod. But one negative, really, not really a negative, but something I got used to with the iPod is you can scrabble your tracks on Last.fm on the iPod, but there's no such like thing on this Walkman here. I don't think it supports like play count tracking and stuff. So it's limited on that, but other than that, this is actually like, if you're primarily listening to music mostly, and you don't really care about like, you know, what DAC or amp or whatever it has, you should get one of these right here. Either the A25 or 15, or like the A10 or A20 series. Because these are like the last ones that Sony made, where it's not just like a phone, like a screen. You know what I mean? Like the modern Walkmans, they're just a touch screen. They're just like Android stuff, but this one's like its own like thing here, and it makes it pretty much worth it if you don't just want a touchscreen. Because if you're going down that route, you may as well just use your phone and Spotify and stuff like that. But that's pretty much it for a look into this great device here. And I do recommend you buy this device. On eBay, they're usually going for like $80 to $120. So either I recommend you get one now before either this video goes viral, if it goes viral, or some bigger YouTuber finds it and covers it. Because once that happens, you know, the prices are gonna go absolutely bonkers. Because this pretty much costs like the same as like an unmodded like iPod, and it's, in my opinion, way better than an iPod ever will be. Because, you know, it's got the SD card slot here. This is the main reason why I got it, is the SD card slot. Because on my iPod, the hard drive like died on it. Like, I couldn't transfer like new songs anymore, and I didn't really feel like opening it up to replace the SD card. So I sold the iPod for like $110, and I used all that money just to buy this right here. So yeah, that is the Sony Walkman NW-A25. I highly recommend you buy one of these, you know, before the prices go insane on it, if that happens.